Okay, so as you can see off camera, I just went ahead and started connecting all of our vertices. And I kept my geometry quite clean. For now, I just want to keep everything very clean, even if it means that it's a little bit less optimized. Now, a few small things that I want to do. So over here, I actually want to just go ahead and place a really quick cut here, because I do not want to have this going all the way to the back, because then it might interfere a little bit with our hand grip. So if we just go ahead and go to our side view, we can do this quite easily. So just create like a simple spline or a slice, not spline. Can I get it precise enough so that it doesn't? No, I don't. In that case, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add a slice modifier. If I can find it, there we go. And let's rotate that, turn on snapping. 90 degrees. And let's move it. Up until this point should be fine. There we go. So then we can just go ahead and convert this to an poly. Now, you can also bridge faces. So all you need to do is just quickly delete this top face, because it will actually create a face there, and that we will need to remove. And then just simply select these few faces and just bridge them. There you go. Now, as I said before, it will create a top face. So if you just quickly look inside, you can see that it has created a quick face that you want to delete. But there we go. Easy does it. So we've done that. I feel like I want to just make this a little bit closer together, probably on both sides. We don't need to do so much bevel it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and I detached them when I was doing the optimization. So let's attach them again. Let's go into face select and just select by angle. Ignore back facing and set it to 5, so that we can select this side, this side, this side, and this side. Just also select these pieces. The reason we need to select those is because else the pivot point is not in the center, and then it is a pain for us to scale. So we can simply scale this a bit in. There we go. That should do the trick. Okay, so cool. We have that stuff done. I'm trying to drag over my reference. I still need to get used to PureRef, because I always used, at least in tutorials, I always used normal images. Sorry, brain freeze. So let's see. So we've got that done. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a cut over here. I'm going to create this piece over here. And yeah, that should be good. And after that, we are getting close to finally finishing at least like this top piece. Also, if you just get annoyed by the smoothing, just quickly throw on like a smooth modifier. And yeah, I'm just leaving it on like just normal smooth, and then I convert it back to edit poly, just to have all the smoothing hard. Just hard edges and everything like that. But we're going to go ahead and clean up this geometry later on. But for now, let's go to our top view. If we go over here to the side, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a very simple box that I will use for the cutting. So we're just going to use a boolean probably to cut this. So use your box here. Let's make it bigger. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to cut it up until probably this point. Don't know. Yeah, see, actually we need to go even further, because we want to cut it up until the point where it just ends up straight. So that is going to be, let's say, this point over here. Just make sure that you have the box just in front, because else you accidentally will cut in this side. So let me just scale this out actually, because we need to cover it the entire way. Whoa. Hello 3ds Max. Don't know what you did, but come on, scale. Move it in front. And for the rest, we can just decide like the thickness by scaling this in. I'm gonna go for quite some thick edges over here on the side. That should do the trick. So you select this piece, compound objects, pro boolean, same thing, advanced options, remove only visible, and just select your cube. There you go. And now for these pieces, what you can do is, if you convert this back to the edit poly, simply create like a cut and just make like a cut like this and another cut like this. Another one over here. Another one over here for now. There we go. Okay, so this looks quite messy, I would say. So there's quite a bit of cleanup that needs to be done. What I will do for this this point. What I will do most of this again off camera because just connecting, but I do want to just clean up the actual boolean. Now if you just quickly select this, and if we go to selection, once again set this to 2 and then press select, we can select all of the vertices that do not directly have anything connected, and then we can press Ctrl backspace on them. There we go. So now all that we have left is just some unconnected vertices. So I will go ahead and like collapse this and collapse this. Here at the top, I'm going to probably collapse this all into one point. I don't think that will look too bad. So let's collapse this into one point. And now for these pieces, it's just going to be at the lower levels. We're just simply going to do this, which sometimes is a little bit tricky to actually get right. Another thing that you can do, if you want to make this a little bit easier on yourself, is connecting them up until this point and then deleting that face and then bridging them. So let's say that we want to connect up until, let's say this point, and then from that point we move on like this. See? So if we do that also on the other side, we can simply do the same up until, what was it? Say up until this point, and then it connects like this, which means that if you just simply select this face, delete it, go into border select and you select the border, go back into edge select, deselect the top faces and bridge. So just a normal bridge like that. And now at this point, something you might have seen me doing in time-lapse, you can also connect by selecting 2 vertices, which I sometimes do, and then just press connect. And it does the same as a cut. There is no logic really for me why I sometimes switch over from one to the other. It's just whatever I'm kind of like in the mood for, because it's pretty much I think it takes just as long to do both of them. So I think the cut is just handy if I need to make multiple edges, because you can click and then you can just continue right away if you want. But there we go. Yeah, I didn't even have to do this in time-lapse. I could just finish this off like this. There we go. Okay, cool. So we got that stuff done. That was an easy one. Later on we will have like a cylinder in here, so that's no problem. We will just make that the same way as that it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to this side, and we need to create this thing. So it looks like it's just an extension. We can just go ahead and do like a simple extrude. Then we just need to create like a quick boolean to cut out some pieces. And this one is like a cylinder with a bevel. And once again, we just reuse our boolean to also cut out from that. So knowing that, the first thing that I want to do is I probably want to go ahead and I think it's doing a slice. I should have my slice in here. I'm just going to configure modifier sets, add a 16th one, and I'm just going to add my slice in here. I don't know why it's not there. So let's press OK. Oh, that's why, because it sometimes just does this little messy thing over here. In that case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly like get rid of vertex paint and just do it like that. Okay, it's just a UI bug. So slice. Let's go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees. And if I have a look, so it looks like I am doing this a little bit out of my head. So looking at my reference, it looks like it is just beyond this point. It seems about alright, maybe a little bit further. And then what you can do is you just right click and copy and then paste the slice. It will just paste another slice, and then you can just choose like your thickness and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go for let's see. Yeah, I probably want it quite thick. So how is this? This actually looks pretty good. Maybe a bit thicker. A little bit thinner. There we go. Let's do something like this. So we've got that done. Let's convert this to an edit poly. And we probably want to extend this up until this edge over here, if I look at it. Which means that I probably want to just go ahead and delete these 2 edges. And then I just want to simply select these faces over here. I'm gonna go ahead and extrude them twice. So the first extrusion is up until this point. Come on, up until, doesn't need to be too precise, but I want to get it quite close. There we go, and then just press the plus sign. Okay, so we've done 2 extrusions like this. So we move that down. And we move this one down. We're not close, we need to go ahead and select. Yeah, let's select by angle, that makes it a little bit faster. Because I want to move this back so that it is at least close enough so that we do not accidentally edit the shape. There we go. See? Yeah, that's close enough so that we do not accidentally edit the shape. Another thing that we need to keep in mind is that there are probably faces below here, which there are. They are a bit difficult to see, so I tend to just quickly move into my mesh here, see? So that I can just delete them. And then just press C to refocus our mesh. And now if we do an Alt-X, we can collapse this. We can collapse this. And it will change the movement a little bit, but it's not enough that you will be able to really notice. So we got this stuff. And once we've got that stuff, we can go ahead and we can probably just bevel this side and this side. Now I might want to just quickly select this edge and deselect. Oh, that's annoying. Let's do this. Let's deselect. No, turn off back facing. Let's deselect this stuff. There we go. Let's deselect this stuff over here. Do Ctrl backspace. And then just quickly merge this together like this. I don't think you will be able to notice that anyway. Or will you? Yeah, okay, you will notice that. In that case, I'm just going to endure. I'm just, first of all, I will just see if I can just create the bevel. If it is big enough, I should have done that first. What if I just like select another piece around here? Let's see, I want to see how it looks if I bevel everything, because I want this to look quite smooth. So I'm beveling pretty much everything, but then I'm just reducing the bevel amount. Here, because over here, see, it's all flowing nicely together and it all looks quite smooth. So I want to capture that same effect. Yeah, this should be fine. So let's just add like a small bevel to this. These pieces I'm fine with just the way that they come together. I'm not so worried about that. So that's looking pretty good. Now the next thing would be for us to create like that little cut that we have. So first of all, we need to place a cylinder here, and then we also need to place like this. I don't know what the shape is called. I call it a cylinder that I stretch out. But if we go ahead, go to our side view, and press Alt-X, then what we can do is we can simply create a quick cylinder. And let's see, so this cylinder is not touching the edges. It's like kind of like a centimeter away from it. So if I press Alt-X on this again, if I just move it here, first of all, I want to focus on the scale, which actually is pretty spot on because I just did that. Next, I want to focus on the height. So actually the scaling might be a little bit too big. There we go. Let's go just like, yeah, let's go like a tiny bit smaller. Okay, so height. For the height, I just look at this. So the height is pretty much just around this area over here. I know it's a bit tricky to explain, but yeah, if this is the height, I want to probably move this down a little bit more. No, actually, you know what? I don't want to move this down a little bit more because I need to have this long piece. I need to have it sticking out up until this point. So I think something like this should be fine. We can always change it later on, so I'm not too worried about that. So we got this piece. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this up like this. Convert it to an edit poly. Do I have too many segments? Nah, I don't have too many segments. So I'm converting this to an edit poly and I'm just moving this up over here. And now if I just quickly select the back face, you cannot see me do it, but I am selecting the back face. I'm going to scale that one out. Actually scale the front face in a little bit. Over here. basically just to create a quick bevel. And once we've created this quick bevel, all we need to do now is we just need to create a boolean that looks like this shape. And then we can just create this shape right away because they are the same. And then we can simply boolean this all the way out, all the way to the back. So just follow my lead. If we go to our side view, to an Alt-X, I'm going to create another cylinder. And this time I'm going to make my cylinder only like 16, probably. 16 sides. So let's go ahead and push this up. Just making a guess of how large this is. Let's do Alt-X. Let's see. So look at the tips. So the tips is where it will end, and we want those tips to be roughly to create the same thickness as that we have. So if I say that my thickness is over here, I would probably want to make this a little bit thinner. And once you are happy with your thickness, what you can do is you can convert this to an edit poly. You can start by just going into face mode and selecting half of it and just deleting it. And then select the end edges of these two pieces, Shift E them to extrude them. I should say extrude, sorry, I just keep forgetting it. And we basically just move them like this. Now, first of all, we place this into place. So if I see this, the first thing that I see is that I probably need to make my cylinder a little bit smaller, but I just want to make them smaller on the Z and the X axis. So I just scale it on the Z and the X. There we go, so that cuts through there. And at that point you can just go ahead and do a quick symmetry. Click once on the symmetry to go into the mirror modifier and just, let's see, so we want to have this going, well actually this is just a boolean, so this one we can just leave like this, and then we will just go ahead and like duplicate it. And this one will later on become this little thin bit, but for now I just care about the boolean, so all I need is this piece. I need to convert this to an edit poly. We can get rid of these two edges over here, just Ctrl backspace them. And then close using a cap poly, both sides, because booleans do not like it when they have open faces. And we just want to like have this probably sitting like just in front of it, because we only want to cut it out over here. So just in front of it. There we go. Now, something to remember, when you boolean, this object will disappear. Because we have two objects that we need to boolean, we need to go ahead and we need to press Ctrl V and just copy this, and then just right click and hide selection, so that we can first go to this one and we can say compound objects, pro boolean, advanced options, remove only visible, and pick. See, so you get that. Yeah, that looks good. It even has like the little edge that starts to go down, so that's really good. And yeah, we need to do some cleanup, but first of all, let's now unhide, select this piece, pro boolean, and do the same settings again, and pick, and there we go. So now we also have like a cut like over here. So let's do some cleanup. This one cleanup is easy. All we need to do is we need to connect these broken edges over here, just something like this, just so that they are connected. And now if I just go ahead and do like a quick collapse on these, collapse on these, and collapse on these. There we go, so that it becomes one piece. This center edge, luckily that we have it, because we can just now merge that. Oh, and over here we have some trouble. So sometimes the connection doesn't work, and then what you want to do is you simply want to connect it in different ways. So if it doesn't work like this, then you just start at the center and then you just merge down. I know it's a weird thing, but it's actually very common inside of 3ds Max. So you just learn to deal with it and just have like slightly different types of connections, just in case you didn't already know about that. This stuff is leftover, so Ctrl backspace those vertices, Ctrl backspace these. We can probably do like a quick swift loop. Oh wow, this swift loop is very broken, so let's not do a swift loop and let's instead yeah, let's do that by hand. Let me just isolate this so that I can actually see what I'm doing. it's very important that we still connect all the vertices, because we need to do that anyway. Even if we turn this into high poly inside of ZBrush, which I will most likely do with this piece, it's still very important that the vertices are connected. We need to do it both for the low poly, but also to import it inside of ZBrush, you need to have proper connections, because else they break. Now there are automated workarounds, like where you can triangulate it just before adding it to ZBrush, but we still need to do it for low poly anyway, so you can just as well do it. It's like it's not that special to do. So I'm just going to quickly weld everything at like a very low value to make sure. See, one duplicate vertex, and want to bet that now if I select this and press ring, oh no, so it's still not ringing around. That is okay, don't worry about it. I just want to do a quick double connect over here. And the reason I do that is so that I can have something to connect to. See? That's it. So I have something to connect to. There we go. Okay, so that one is cleaned up. Now if we just go ahead and unhide all. Oh, sorry, I meant go outside of isolation mode. I sometimes forget where I'm in. Let's go ahead and convert this to an edit poly. So, oh, that's editable mesh. Sorry, I meant editable poly. So this looks quite straightforward. I think for these pieces, at this point, what you want to do is, so we need this for ZBrush. I think we are going to have like a UV seam around here, because I think this one is pushing it too much. So we will have a UV seam around here, which means that we do not need to combine this. At least not in our low poly. But for ZBrush, we probably still need a back face. So what I'm going to do is I am for now just going to leave the back face and just connect it. And then we can always, in the low poly later on, delete it. But if we delete this now, inside of ZBrush it will start to complain that we do not have like correct vertices and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just basically doing general cleanup. For these pieces, you can very easily just like connect them from the bottom all the way to the top. And we basically want to do that, and now just also do it on this side. So yeah, I'm just doing this very quickly. I'm going to merge you down there, and you just collapse it, because the vertices are too close together for them to be separate. And yeah, doing the high polys in ZBrush, I don't actually do that often, but it is quite a good time save. It just gives us a little bit less control, but I think in this case it's worth it just because of the time save. So this high poly will later on be all merged together and like nicely smoothed, but just in the low poly it will stay apart like that. So we got that piece done. Now this piece, I am going to go ahead and go up here to my Toggle Scene Explorer. And the reason I want to do this is because here you can also create layers. So I'm just going to create a very quick new layer, which I will call Backup. And I will just throw stuff like this in here so that I can use it later on. Because right now I don't want to focus on creating small parts like that. I'm doing that inside of a time lapse. So we got that part done. This part will be separate, so I will do that also in the time lapse, just to save some time. These things will be separate, so we have our body going down here. We need to create a quick hole here, which we'll do in the next chapter. So we got this side pretty much done, as far as I can see. Do a quick smooth on it so that I can read it a bit better. This side is pretty much done. It's not the most difficult side. All these little bolts and everything, we will do those later on, and I will show you which technique we're going to use for that. So we got this side done over here. That's all looking good. Let's quickly move over to the other side. So if we go to the other side, Oh yeah, this is the stuff that we still need to do. Almost forgot about that. So, for the rest, we need to create a quick edit over here for our cylinder. This little bump that you have over here. I know that in here it's actual geometry, but I'm just going to do it inside the Substance Painter. I'm not really in the mood to mess around with such a tiny bit of geometry over there. And we will go ahead and we will create the actual formation over here with these things. And we will do those on top. And for the rest, I think I'm ready to go. Yeah, okay, I think then what we can do is we can move to the upper part. So let's continue with this in the next chapter.